Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and this is another episode of the world famous, the Universally Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. We are coming to you live today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very nice to be speaking with you again. Today is Wednesday, May the 8th, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, last few days have been a little rough, but everything is going to be okay. Now, as I told you on Friday, we closed out the show. We had a funeral service for my mother-in-law this weekend, and things were, as well as they're going to be. It was nice seeing my family. It was nice seeing my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my nephew. It's always good to see him. And as I was sitting there, sitting around looking and thinking, because whenever, I've personally I'm from a big family, so we have a lot of, you know, there's always an end to life, and people have died in my family, and the family I was born into, not the family that but so there's always people, dying, every year somebody passes away. But I've never have had anybody that passed away that I live with. So it's a different kind of it's a different feeling. It's it's strange because you walk into I walk into my mother-in-law's room, and I'm like, and you keep looking, and you're like, like, where is she at? Like, it's like, oh yeah, she's gone. I remember first day that she died, or the day she died, not the first day, but the day she died, I went to the room like twice, 3 times in the same day. Like, let me go check on her, and and she was gone, and it's uh it's definitely a lot different when you live with somebody and you see them on a regular basis than somebody that you know you see once a year, or you spend a little time with, but you don't spend a lot of time with. And so it's sad, but I know deep down that my mother-in-law is in a greater place, and she will sorely be missed. My daughter's gonna my daughter's gonna miss her fun loving Nana, and we are all gonna miss her. And you know it's it's tough, but people deal with it. You don't sit around, and you don't get you go, you know what, they will want you to to push on, and push through, and and be okay. And nice to see it was nice to see people that I haven't seen in a while, and it's always nice to see my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my nephew. As I said before, those are some of my favorite people in the world. I don't have a lot of favorite people, but those three are my favorite people. I wish I could see more of them, but we don't live up the streets. Okay, from New Jersey to Georgia is quite the drive, quite the mileage in between. It's like 800 miles, 900 miles. Now I'm a drive. Now I don't mind driving, but that's quite a trip. I'm I've been getting paid to drive for almost 20 years now. So for me, driving is like, if somebody says, hey, we have to drive 100 miles, to me that's like easy peasy. So, but but anyway, ladies and gents, today we're going to talk about something very important. Today we're going to talk about something I thought about this weekend, watching my nephew and my daughter, and just in general, I was thinking, and that's growth. To see people grow, to see people, mature, to see people, you know, learn different things and get better at the things that they like to do. It's very important. And for you and for I, we can all every day is a every day is a new day to learn. Every day is a new day to grow. Every day is a new day to get better, And if you're not getting better, then it's nobody's fault but your own, okay? And reason why I bring this up, I saw my daughter, and my daughter loves my nephew. My daughter, she every time she sees his picture, she's like, ah, she screams, and she likes hanging around him. And I'm pretty sure, even though, when you're my nephew, he's 7. When you're 7, when you're 7, you still a little, you're a little kid, but you're like, in your world, in your mind, you're like, hey, I, I I'm almost there, halfway to being an adult. So you know a lot, you do a lot. You're like, hey, I'm free. It's not like my daughter's she'll be 3 in July, and she's learning more and she's gaining more independence, but she still, like, wants to be she wants to be picked up, and she wants, do this and do that. And I'm sure all kids still want that at some point. But for her, it's still, but just to see their interactions and how much they've grown over the last, even the last time they was around each other, just to see the growth, to see the you know the interaction, my daughter, she's a little more chatty now, and to see that, and to see, how they're progressing. And it's like, okay, and you you get excited, you get happy, and you're like, okay, look at these two, look at these two, because they are only only siblings. And so, and my wife's family, they don't have the largest family in the world. So my daughter and my nephew, they don't have like 1,000. It's not like me when I was a kid. I had cousins on top of cousins on top of cousins. It was, you know, pick 'em. It was just like, boom, you go around the corner, boom, a family member. You go around this corner, boom, a family member. My daughter and my nephew, they don't have that. So you hope that they grow. You hope that they grow up to like each other. You hope they grow up to get along. You hope they grow up to play and keep in contact with each other. You hope for that. I can't. You don't know how things are gonna go with kids. But you hope for that. And to see that, it's very nice, and to see the growth between them two, and the growth to see them on the individual level is amazing. And I got to thinking more about growing, and the podcast, how we started from 3 years ago. It was a lot of it was a lot of ums and ahs, and it wasn't. And to me, it wasn't good. It was okay, but it wasn't good. And to see the growth of that, and I thought to myself, first episode back, we should talk about growth. And I give you an example. I remember my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. This is a family edition, folks. My brother and my sister-in-law, they got a boat, and they bought a boat. And I'm sure I'm s- I'm sure when they first went out, you know, they were probably driving, and they had even though you get your license, I know this firsthand. Even though you get your license, does not mean you're going to be the greatest boat captain to start off with. I definitely wasn't the greatest commercial driver license operator in the world when I first started driving. And so I remember last year we went out with them on the boat, and they were rocking and rolling. I think it was year. I think it's been 2 years, 3 years, something like that. You know, they went out, we went out to the boat. They got in the boat. They did the whole, releasing the. I was in the Navy. I should know all these terminology, but it's been a long time. But they did all this, release it, and they pushed it, and they got it out from the boat dock, and they navigated their way out into the water, and it was cool to see. And I'm like, man, look at these two. And then they started driving, and we drove, and we went to some place, the little cove, and they have their boat friends. They have a whole boating community, and it's like this to watch the growth of these two from, hey, let's, they used to ride on people's boat, and then they bought a boat, and now they're running their own boat, and they brought the boat back. And my brother-in-law, man, when I was sitting there with him, he was, doing the engine, putting water in the engine and all this type of stuff. And I was like, this is really cool to see. This is really cool to watch the progression of somebody that somebody that you love, do something that they enjoy. And you could tell that they enjoy it a lot. And it's very cool to see. It's very nice to watch. And it's the same as my wife. I watched my wife. She went. I remember she worked at. I had a discussion with somebody yesterday. My wife. I remember when we was when we was dating, and she would be writing recipes. It would be like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She'd be writing recipes for her job. And I'm like, are they paying you for this? Are they paying you for this? And she goes, no, but I like doing this stuff. And to see her go from that to owning the business, and then we had the baby, and she said, I want to be home for a couple years. So she sold the business, and now with everything that happened, you know, my wife is, getting back, in the business world, and just to see her talk, she's, the growth that she has from, I don't know if I can own this business to I own this business, put your feet to the fire. So now she knows, what to do, how to do it, why to do it, where to do it, when to do it. It's very amazing to see her grow from, want to own a business to owning a business. And now, hey, not only do I want to work in the business, but I want to grow the business, get the franchises going, all that kind of stuff. To see that growth is a beautiful thing to watch. And I spent a lot of time this weekend sitting there thinking, about, you know, the relationship I have with my wife's family, how it's grown over the years. And I thought, I don't think of these people as my in-laws. These people are they're just like they they are family. It's not like, oh, this is my brother-in-law, this is my sister. No, this is my sister, this is my brother. This is my nephew. I don't think about my nephew. Oh, this is my nephew from my wife's blah blah blah. I would never say that. You know from day one, of course, this kid has been my nephew. And I love him to death. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to them being family, it's not a oh, these are my in-laws. No, this is my family. These people have, we have grown, we have, seen a lot of each other. We spend a lot of time together. I love spending time with them. To see the growth of that is a beautiful thing. And if you are not growing in your personal life, and if you're not growing in your, business life, if you're not growing, and getting better at things, then you need to stop and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? It's like, other day, I haven't been able to, the last week, I've haven't listened to an audio book, because I'm like, I haven't been able, I can't, you know trying to learn something new in the last week, when I've been thinking about my mother-in-law. It's hard to, but today, when I woke up, I said, we got to get back to it. I don't want to, I you can't use you can't use somebody passing away as an excuse to just go 3 months of binge eating and 3 months of you know couch potatoing. You can't do that. Yes, it's sad, and you have to move on. You have to say, hey, come on, come on, come on, because you and I both know, no matter what happens, whether it be to me, whether it be to you, whether it be anybody anybody you love, I would not want anybody to sit there for 6 months and be crying over me. I would say, I would say, come on, man. I want you. Yes, you are going to be missed. Yes, I would say, hey, it's nice that you miss me, but I need you to come on, because I don't want you being stuck, and I don't want you, not doing the things that you want to do. And, you know, with my mother-in-law passing away, and she was only 70, which is wild for me to say, When my nephew, not to get off on nothing, but my nephew, he's so funny. He's 7 years old, so his age thing is like a different perspective, And he's like, "How old is so and so?" He's like, 30. Whoa, that's old. And I'm like, I remember I used to talk like that, and that's always funny. Now that I'm almost 45, is knocking at the door. I'm like, man, 70, man. She was still, kind of young, you know what I mean? And it's just crazy how your perspective is when you get older. Now that I'm 45, I'm like, man, I ain't that old. I'm still young. I'm spry. You sort of talk to yourself and try to convince yourself. But anyway, you just want to continue to grow, and you want to keep continuing getting better. And you know, you don't want to say, hey, I want to get better at this. I want to get better at that. Now the most important thing you can do, all of us can do, is just like, you know, I can't sit around and read about podcasts all the time. I don't sit around and read up on, podcasts, this, that, and the other. You know what I do? I get up and I record these podcasts. I take action. I record. I upload. We have to do. I can always do a better job at getting the podcast out there. I can always do a better job at promotion, marketing, this, that, and the other. But the most important thing that I do is go straight, record, boom, upload, boom. And so growth. You want to grow. You want to grow. You want to grow. Every day you want to get better at. You want to get better at the thing that you are doing. Uh, no matter what it is, you want to be a better husband, you want to be a better father, you want to be a better wife, you want to be a better mother, you want to be better with your friends. Hey, you don't have to sit around and say, man, I really wish I could tell my, blah 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 and blah 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 blah. You should pick up the phone, call them, or do something nice for them without having to say, hey, look at me, and beat your chest. No, don't you don't have to do that. You just, you want to be a better friend, be a better friend. You want to be a better husband, be a better husband. Just, grow and get better. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. It's like I had a best friend in high school, and I love him to death. I love him still. He never wanted to grow. He never wanted to do anything different. And so we can't be best friends no more, because I know I had plans on going places and doing things. Uh, and getting out of the little town I'm from, which is not, it's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to do it. Everybody don't want to do it. Some people want to live there, and that's fine, and they have every right. But my thing was, it's not about them living in the same town. But my friend, he didn't want to work. He didn't want to take care of his kids. He don't want to do anything. So it doesn't matter if he lived here, lived there, lived anywhere. We could not remain friends, if all you do is sit around, smoke the weed, do the drugs, do all the drugs, and complain about life, it's not gonna work out for us, dog. And so I love them. I still think about them, but being friends, I mean, come on, how can we be, And so you move on from that kind of stuff, you move on from those kind of people, and it's just life, trying to hang on sometimes to a relationship, trying to hang on sometimes to a friendship is when you had to cut it off, it's, you can't, if you're not, if you realize, if you wake up and you realize that me and this person, that we're not growing together, then you got to let it go, whether it be, you know um a marriage. You hope that your marriage lasts forever. You want your marriage to last forever. And there are things that are going to happen between two people. And sometimes, some people are going to, you might wake up one day and I saw this article once where this lady was, she wanted to divorce her husband because her husband became a Trump supporter, And I thought to myself, uh, to me, if if my wife, if she goes the complete opposite way of her political beliefs right now, I don't think I would. I don't think that's, for me. That's not an end all be all. Uh, we would just have to figure. We would just make it. We would just make it work. Um, but some people, some people, that's the line in the sand they do not want to cross. And you have your, everybody has their lines in the everybody has their lines in the sand that they do not want to cross. I remember me and my family this weekend, we had a conversation. My brother-in-law, he was getting mushrooms. He said, "Oh man, I don't like mushrooms." And I thought, these people eat everything on the God's green earth. Are you kidding me? They like all the pasta, the sauce, the blah 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 blah, and they give me the hardest time about my eating habits, because my eating habits are, a little different, little quirky. But I said, "You don't eat mushrooms? That's where you draw the line?" Okay. He said, "You like mushrooms?" I said, "Of course." He said, "Out of all the things you like, huh?" I said, "Hey, mushrooms, I'm good." I said, "Tomatoes, that's where I'll draw the line." Okay. So we all have different lines in the sand that we do not want to cross. We are not going to cross, and that's that's the way it is. And so, ladies and gentlemen, grow, grow, grow. Don't grow for yourself. Grow for your loved ones. Because the more you grow, the better your relationships, the better your friendships, the better everything in your life will be. Okay. And we will be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. God bless. And as always, everybody, peace.